Oh, okay, you should hear me now, but let me fix the mic too. Mm, I don't know why the audio disappeared. 1 second. I don't know why the mic disconnected. Uh, uh, um, okay, so we should be good now. Let me know if the audio is okay. I'm testing it out myself. I wanted to test this distance. Let's see if I can hear myself. Yeah, should be good. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, we're good. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Sorry, the room's a little messy. Should I close that door? No, it's fine. So we're gonna do a fun thing today. What I'm hoping is to go over a few portrait paintings and kind of share what I've been working on, because I feel like a lot of people watching and listening are going through a very similar thing. So let's first see who is in the house. We're gonna say hi to everyone. Hey, Manuela. Hey, Sungun. How are you? Hey, Mer. I hope you're doing well. Michael, good morning from North California. Dazzling Action, early gang. Yeah, thank you for being here. Uh, a little bit ahead of time, much appreciated. Steve, how are you doing? Good afternoon yourself. Good. I'm not sure what that means. Hope all is good out there. Trying to read it. I'm not sure if that's Hebrew. Adnan, hello from Morocco. Oh, that's cool. We just talked about Morocco yesterday, actually. Terry, hope you're doing well. Thank you, Adnan, for letting me know. Hey, John, hope you're doing well. EST 1996. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for letting me know you can hear me. I need to brush up on my Arabic. Sorry, I can't read your username. Robin, how are you doing? Good morning yourself. Connie D. I hope everything is well from Pacific. NW. Terry, sorry, Liron. Yeah, no worries. Not sure why you're sorry. You don't have to apologize. Kerry, shalom. Kiv Oliver, hi for Australia. Peggy, good morning. Yeah, I can see it. Well, Tembo, hey from Texas. Good morning, Liron, and all from Northern California, says Vespa for Jen. Helena, hello from Portugal. Cool, cool. Sherwin is here. Hello. Not Hebrew, just to lose with the finger marks. Yeah, no worries, Steve. Yeah, Buff S Kermit, how are you doing? I need to see a profile pic with that. That'll be funny. I'm sure there's a meme out there somewhere. Sherwin from the Philippines. Cool, cool. So how is everyone going? Let me know how you're doing. Been an interesting week for me. I'm actually super tired. Went to a wedding last night. Was really fun. But didn't sleep too well and drink. I barely ever drink alcohol. So I'm very not used to it whenever I do. Um, Marjorie, upstate New York here. Good morning, Liron. Package on the way. Thank you so much. Anyone else tried Yin MN? I don't know what Yin MN is. But thank you so much, Marjorie. Yeah, I'll be following and tracking that as soon as I can. They'll probably text me soon so that I can actually see where the status where it is. Um, Leslie, hi from Australia. Cool. Yeah. So, what have you been painting, everyone? Let me know if you've been working on something interesting. I've been, as hinted, working on a lot of. I'm wondering where I should. I never have a good spot for the chat, but whatever. I'll put it here. Um, David Wilson, hello from Alabama, USA. Love your instructions. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, so I've been working on a lot of portraits, as you've seen. I actually have a pile here to share with you. All sorts of portraits that I've been working on. Yin MN is the first new blue paint in years. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Angelina, hi from Russia. Thank you for being here. Carrie, portrait painting right now, disabled child. It's hard. Oh man, yeah. Children generally, and now I see the YLNMN blue. That's interesting. I'll check it out. I'm really not up to date with the watercolor news and so on. Um, so yeah, that's cool. I didn't know they come up with new paints. That's funny. Sherwin, yes, I do watercolor drawings of animals. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, Carrie, it's really tough painting children in general. You know, very soft facial features, and that's what I'm kind of trying to do right now. Working on a lot of softer paintings where it really challenges the essence of very smooth wet and wet transitions, very small nuances that kind of have to really pay close attention to. Let me try something here. Let's do. Uh, Wish I had like a good arrangement for the chat box. Kind of drives me crazy. Actually, if so, I'll have to update the way I do the chat box just so that it looks better. This then. There we go. That's much better. Oh yeah, Kanedi Butterfly. That's cool. Sungun Hai from Korea. Cool. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Korean watercolorists lately, being inspired with what's possible with the medium because they're insanely good. Um, so I'll show you some of these attempts, successes, failures. Peggy, yes, returned from Italy and was so inspired by the landscape painting poppies everywhere. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Yeah, Italy is beautiful, and those rural areas, very green, lots of the wineries, and oh, that's fun. That's fun. Love these views. Gemma, hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly. Hi from Barcelona. Dazzling action. Thoughts on adding soft edges after the first layer? It's actually something I've been doing a lot with the portraits. It is possible it's a little harder. Sometimes I find that instead of okay, so you have a shape, right, or you have something, and then you put a layer over it and smoothen out the edge or soften the edge. What I found sometimes works better in these instances is to first put the water where you want a loose edge, then add the paint. Works a little better for when you're doing it on top of existing layers. That's what I found. A bit easier to soften it up because when you soften, you kind of you really rub the brush against the paper and that can lift. But if you just use a soft brush to apply water, you're not scrubbing anything, and then you just put the paint and it tends to smoothen out a little nicer. I hope that helps from a very technical kind of standpoint, right? Janzard, I've been working on a 5-person portrait. Someone's grandkids, all from different photos, put into one painting. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Sherwin, how long have you been painting? I've been painting for now, started 2015. So that'll be 5 plus 3, about 8 years, I would say. Something like that, yeah. 1996 to video. I haven't tried watercolors yet. Just love watching people paint with them. Yeah, it's really fun to watch. Yeah. Especially when the person knows what they're doing and gets everything right the first go. That's the most fun. Peggy started a new piece in watercolor of a winery landscape. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a given in if you base it on Italy and Tuscany. Yeah. Leslie, working between a large underwater painting of a woman diving and a portrait of my mom in oils. Oh, that's fun. That's tough underwater scenes as well. That's always a challenge. Marjorie, your last painting of a water lily is much like I used to do, as I had a koi pond. Oh, that's beautiful. Dazzling action. Always had a hard time with keeping soft edges in the wrong spots. Yeah, it's tough because it takes a good familiarity with the subject matter, so you have to actually look at it a few times, and really soak it in a way, and then also quick thinking on your feet, which can be a challenge. So yeah, I definitely get it. Um, Leslie, getting back into watercolor again. That's fun. Hey, the anchor, how are you doing? Yahoo! Big hard books and classics. Hello, y'all. Alan here, Portland, Oregon. Thank you so much for being here. So let's get into it. I'm gonna share with you a few of these works. Um, I believe it's here. Yeah. So this is the good one. Let's actually go back to that in a second. I want to show you. Yeah, I did 2 today. Let's start with this one. I have it here too, so I can just hold it up to the camera. So this was. I'm trying to refine the way I approach these portraits. Um, there's a lot of complexity that I'm rediscovering. You know, portraits were never really my bread and butter or the thing that comes naturally to me in any way in the watercolor sphere. You know, you see the cars that I paint and all of that. Cars come much more naturally to me. Um, People are just harder, especially if you're trying to get the likeness. I'm not even trying to get the likeness. I want the technique to look good and look smooth. And that's kind of where I've been. You know how they say your artistic taste improves, and then that leads to wanting to improve the result as well. And that can lead also to a lot of frustration where your result does not match your desired vision. And the more your eyes, it's actually your mind, but your eyes improve at seeing these things, the more you see the gap and how much you actually messed up in many cases. And I think my vision has improved and my eyes have been open to what's possible. What's possible with the medium on a technical level of achieving like a result. And ever since I saw that, I was, couldn't go back really. And I think it's almost like what you decide to accept or not accept, like what's your own vision for yourself. And I guess I reached a point of maturity where I feel like, okay, the things I've been doing right now, I'm no longer happy with where I'm at, and I want to be somewhere else, right? Not all pieces, of course. I have a lot of paintings I love, but yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at with the practice. Let's look at another one, and as we talk, I'm gonna go back a bit to the chat. So this one I did today. I'm gonna talk about it in a second, but this one felt also like another breakthrough. Actually, I'm very happy with that. Let me place the chat actually above that so I can read it. There we go. It doesn't interrupt as much. Luvina Samson, will you be doing more classes in Udemy? Thank you. Yeah, I actually just got an email from Udemy. They're so annoying. So they go over existing courses. Udemy they meddle too much with instructors. What they want to do is, they said for classes that either don't have a satisfactory description or they change their standards all the time, and for courses that didn't update their content in 6 months and so on. Like, why would I? The content isn't a breathing thing for me on Udemy. It's a course. It's done. I don't need to update it. They have this new standard. They flag the content and then it will be unpublished unless you take action. It's so silly. So probably not, I don't know if in the near future they're really not fun to work with. So I'll probably stick to my own platform and sell my own courses, honestly. Maybe if I feel like making the fixes they want, I will. But my Udemy income has decreased significantly over the last 2 years. It's been very steady from month to month to month. It goes down and down and down. I don't know, maybe I'll start devoting more time to it at some point. Maybe, I'm not sure. It'll take some digging and to figure out what's going on there, actually. But yeah, if you want any of the courses that are there, they're just there, actually. Yeah, I don't sell them on my own website, so maybe that's what I should do. But in any case, that's the kind of short answer. Maybe I'll consider going back there, The anchor at 6:40 p.m. here. Cool. Steve Mills, no watercolor for me since last week. A colored pencil landscape and an Inktense. Oh, Inktense is cool. Pencil figure drawing at the weekend. Taking a break now while the doors and windows being fitted in house. Oh, okay, cool. So is it a new place or are you changing doors and windows? We had, new doors here in the apartment. It was a huge improvement compared to what it was. Making the most out of the break by reading Capturing Light and Light by Catherine Beale. Is that Beale? Newly released and looking testing. I'm not sure which book you mean. Let me go ahead and check that out. Capture light. I love that name for a book. Okay, that's cool. I'll look into it. Interesting. Very interesting. It's pretty funny that I still don't have a watercolor book after all this all this time. Big hard books and classics. I have a koi pond tattooed upon my right arm. Oh, I got excited. I thought it's an actual one, physical one. Yeah, I love ponds. Our neighbors where I grew up had a pond. Sherwin, amazing. Thank you so much. Steve, oh yeah, we read that. Vespa, oh wow, I love the Asian woman, just beautiful. Thank you. I have a difficulty leaving the white spaces. Yeah, you know, it wasn't really about leaving white spaces. Let's go back to that. It was more about just painting the shadows where I saw them. I didn't really manage to tackle this like a fully I would say even unified wash. So it was in a way in sections. But yeah, sorry about that. Just wanted to make sure I got some text. Yeah, let's go to the one that turned out the best, which is this one I posted on Instagram. Yeah, so this is kind of what I envision. The only difference is I would love to be able to achieve this in color as well. And I took a step back and decided to, for a while, not have color, just because it's so overwhelming for me to focus on, you know, the skin tones and getting good looking colors, and more than good looking colors, just getting colors that work well together. I'm still not accustomed to that in portraits, as much as I painted them. You know, mostly I do cityscapes, landscapes, so on. So, but this is one that is clearly like the closest I've had to a success, right? If you want some of the so yeah, we'll talk about that more in a second. Big hard books and classics. I like the tonal shadows in your painting. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I've been putting a lot of emphasis on, but I do hope but I do hope to improve the colors as well. I've been working on that. Sherwin, what brand of watercolor do you use? I use tons of them. You know, it really doesn't matter the brand. I think the best brand is the one you can find locally for a decent price. I would say that's what I would go with for you. You know, a lot of good brands out there. I think I'm gonna stop even recommending, like, or even mentioning the one I use, because it's just all over the place, you know. I use Daniel Smith and a bunch of others. Basically, Daniel Smith, M. Graham, Shinhan PWC, Schminke a bit, White Knights, Rosa Gallery. I use so many, you know. They're all good. And you can use cheaper ones, and you'll still get good results if you know what you're doing, basically. DJ Hato's radio show. Hello, that's a cool username. Leslie, liking the elderly woman with the hijab. Thank you. Yeah, this one. I actually don't think it's a hijab. Yeah. So this was a big success for me as well. Did this one just a few hours ago. This was a major one for me because I managed to connect most of the technique with getting a good flow with the colors. If you look here, even just this, let me switch over to even down here, you see a bit of that reflected light. Can you tell how it goes a little lighter and cooler down below? So that's light reflecting from the environment or whatever. That's the type of nuances I hope to be able to capture, and in these types of smooth transitions, right? That's a lot of challenge. The inker. How many hours or minutes you make art for a day? Yeah, I don't have any routine. I paint whenever I feel like it, and that's been a lot in the last couple of weeks. But for let's say the last year, it's not usually that much. You know, many hours a week, but I wouldn't say I paint. I don't even paint every single day. But now yeah, in the last couple of weeks, I've became obsessed with the gaps I want to close and the place I want to arrive where I'm just better. And I've been painting for hours on end every day, 3, 4, 5 every day. You know, I don't even think necessarily there's that direct of a connection between hours practiced and results. There is some, because a part of getting there is some practice. But for the most part, it's really not a mandatory thing, you know? I think it's a lot about what you do, how you think about things, how you see them visually, than it is about time spent, you know? But in the last couple of weeks and days, it's been like 5 hours a day, 3 hours a day, depending, you know. Marjorie, I sent handmade Riverdale, sorry, and Stardust watercolors to Liron and wondering if anyone else used them. Oh, interesting. From Etsy, cool. Cholan, come to Islam and success. Yeah, thank you. You always comment that on my videos. And then some people are confused under that. They're like, why do you always say that? I appreciate that. Thank you for the invitation. Vanraj Arts. Hello, I can make paintings with reference image and it's good, but it's not the same when I make paintings from life or live. Yeah, so you say that painting from a real live reference in front of you is different to when you work from a photo. And yeah, it is true. It really is like that, you know. When you work from a photo, a lot of the interpretation has been done. One of the challenges I wasn't expecting when I started working from real life and plein air was how the borders of the photo have been very useful to me, you know? Using the borders, I can tell the composition, I can measure things out. When you don't have borders around your subject, you're just left with the subject. And if you're not used to that, that can be quite a challenge. So yeah, I get it. Like anything else, you do it enough and it will become much, much easier. I hope that helps. Sherwin, how many hours it takes for you to finish a watercolor portrait? So this one, for example, took, I think, 2 hours, 2.5 hours of just painting, you know, non-stop, minus drying time, let's say. But this was a relatively simpler one because there are a few very clear shapes of shadow within the light. Sometimes when more is involved, it'll take longer, you know? When more thin glazes are necessary or whatever the technique dictates, it can take a little longer. I think if I were to paint... So yeah, I have a few here that I'll show you in a second, but just to give you a preview... So this is the one I posted on Instagram. It looks much better in real life, as many of my paintings compared to the screen, or the scan rather. And here's another one. So these are a little more involved actually. I like this one a lot. I haven't really shown it yet, so you'll see it in a second, but sneak peek. These took like 3-4 hours because it's a larger piece of paper and it's just more involved. There's a lot there. There's a background. There's a lot of colors, nuances. So yeah, that took a little longer. Shadows. Make her Kratos. What does this have to do with Kratos? You're playing God of War, the inker. Big hard books and classics. That's an excellent painting. Thank you, Ellen. Yes, sorry, I'll just say Ellen. Sometimes I forget between live streams, so you'll correct me again. Sorry if I do, but Ellen. Here. Yeah, Ellen. Ellen's a classic name. So the next time I see big hard books and classics, I'll be like, oh, classics, that's Ellen. So thank you for the correction. Steve, we've had this house from 24 years ago, and the original doors and windows were needing replacing. Yeah, that makes sense after 24 years. Not by the sea, but you wouldn't know that looking at how much we were lashed by wind and rain. Oh, okay, interesting. I buy sorry, Alan. I buy middle of the road prices to paint from Blink. Is it Blink or Blick? I think it's Blick. Blick Art Supplies. Cool. Joyce, hi from Nigeria. Cool. Thank you for being here. Laura, good morning, evening, everyone. Thank you for being here, Laura. Lovina, will you do more classes on Udemy? Thank you. Yeah, I answered before. Maybe you missed it. Maybe in the future. Not right now. Udemy is a mess. It's a mess for instructors. Richard, Hello everyone, congratulations on the recent portrait painting, Liron. They're sensational. Thank you so much. Marjorie, the girl watercolor is captivating. Thank you. Yeah, something about the expression and I got a bit lucky with the photo, but also the way I captured it. Yep, it works out. There's also a really nice point of contrast right here in this eye with the lights and darks. It just works really well. Cholan, I love watercolor, and I hope I can paint in Jerusalem one day. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, there's plenty of beautiful views there. I would recommend it for sure. Vanraj, so how can I improve watercolor for making live objects and paintings? One thing you can do is take a picture, and then it's almost like training wheels. So you look at the picture, you look at the live reference, you look at the picture, and so the live, what I find is live subjects in front of me, I can tell the colors a little better, I can tell the shapes a little better, but then I'm lacking in some things that help me be accurate. So I'd actually have also a photo on your phone or on the screen of that same thing, and then you can use both, so that it almost helps you fill in the gaps, if that makes sense. But just like anything else, you'll have to do it a couple of times and see how it feels, you know. There isn't really a how-to specific for that, I think. Do it enough and you'll get it. Thank you, Alan. Hey, Henny, how are you doing? I hope everything is well. It's funny, I just thought about you a few days ago. I went over very old emails because I had to empty some space in my inbox, and I saw a lot of the paintings you sent me, and we went back and forth, and I gave you some advice. But those emails were very heavy, so I had to delete some of them. I have backups of everything on my Gmail, but I had to delete them on the local inbox. So yeah, I just thought of you. Hope you're doing well. Liron, not sure if you saw the large painting reference I emailed about a couple of months back. Oh, so this one I haven't seen. I'm talking about an older one. So I'll get to it. Sorry if I missed it. Send it again, and I'll take a look. Sorry. Dazzling Action, got to love it when you run out of paint pen colors. So like mid painting, that can be a real problem. Sungun, thank you. I think that's a happy emoji with the painting. Hopefully. Nice light effect. Thank you, Moon. Cool, Alan, so you sent me? Cholan, just a question. What do you think about painting format in a painting tour? I love the half imperial. Not sure what you mean by painting tour. You mean like just a large half imperial size? I think large. Hopefully, that's what you mean. I think large watercolors have a lot of character to them sometimes, a lot of impact. I find that a lot of the mistakes kind of disappear. You have larger margins of error, so you end up mistakes end up being not as important, not as bad. I find there's a lot of positive stuff about that actually. So let's show you this one. So yep. I like the big format. Oh, wait, let's see. I want to see more. The inker. Do you like charcoal pencil? I haven't gotten to use it, but at first glance, it looks like something I will enjoy, actually. So I should probably give some charcoal a try. Ellen, Blake, yes. I try and buy local, but such a great online deals. Yeah, Jackson's is great here for online stuff, and Amazon too. Local is really bad here, actually. It's more expensive than buying online. Vespa, do you use Photoshop or Procreate to desaturate colored photos so it's only black and white? Sometimes I will, yeah, to make it easier to see the values. Yes, of course. But it's mostly for purposes of me studying the photo and painting. Marjorie, try the new black paint from Daniel Smith. It's supposed to be great for shadows. Which one? What's its name? Not sure. Henny, come to the UK. We won't have to send such large emails. Yeah, definitely. I hope to visit one day. I was visited once London. It was great, but I would love to come back again. I was with family, and there was a limit to how much we could walk around and do stuff. So I hope to come again. Monica, I hope you're doing well. Thank you. Leslie, great idea to take a picture when working with live painting. Yes, it helps. Yes, Henny, she sent it over again. Marjorie, many years ago, I made my own charcoal. Oh, that's cool. So what, from actual charcoals? That's cool. Okay, let me show you this one for just a quick second or two. I don't have a scan of it. It'll take me some time, so I don't want to do it live mid live stream. But yeah, that's what I'm really proud of. So I was going for a very I was going for a very old classical almost sergeant feel to it. And yeah, that turned out nice. Of course, there's a lot to improve. This was before I had my epiphanies about technique. This was actually before that. So now I feel like I much better understand what I'm attempting to do. Same for this one. Again, that you've seen. I can actually bring it up on the screen. Let's do that. I'll add it to my slideshow here. Sorry. Let's see. Hey, sorry, I can't read your username. My apologies. Steve, I remember that breakfast party, but with all a bit of butter and Marmite. I have never tried Marmite, actually. Let's see here. Let me get this one, too. Where did I put it? That's a heavy file. Let me downsize it. Bit of photo editing. Sorry about that. Cubswin, is that painting someone you personally know? Sit for a painting? Oh, I wish. No, I actually I used the Leonardo AI. It's an AI tool. Gave it tons of prompts and built this scene. I really wanted to practice doing something with more classic colors, so I actually gave it like portrait of a woman, the style of John Singer Sargent with this kind of a background. I gave it as specific instructions as I could. But I wanted to see what will come out of it. And I really liked it, so I decided to paint it. I actually went ahead and checked it really does a mishmash, so there isn't an actual painting that looks like this. It's a fairly decent tool, so it's not really based on anything. How can I add files? So it's not really based on anything. I actually looked through Sargent's works, couldn't find anything that looks like it. So yeah, it was fun. It was a fun experiment to see what I can produce, and then I just went ahead and painted it. That's why the light and shadow conditions are very different from my usual work, actually. But yeah, I don't plan to rely on these tools too much, but I'm gonna use any tool I can while I'm doing studies and trying different things. There we go. Okay. So this one's a big mess. I'll talk about that in a second. Let's see, where was I? But I do need to get people down. That'll be the best, actually. Inker, do you like Christian Savai? I'm familiar with him, but let me... oh, yeah, I know him from all the shorts on YouTube. Yep, definitely. I don't know much about his art. Like, I just saw a couple of processes. It's not really my style of choice, but it's nice. It's nice looking. His videos are great in terms of, education. Not educational, but just fun watch. I would say. The shorts, I watched a lot of them. Connie D, large painting. People stand back to see. Small picture. People move in close. Mistakes blur when people stand back. Yep, that is true. Joyce, I think it's kind of hard putting the right proportions in place and painting the human face. Yeah, really. This is actually why I'm so proud of this one, because I just sketched it out very carefully. It's small. It's a tiny piece of paper, which means it's easier to make mistakes in the drawing. Now, it doesn't look exactly like the woman in the original photo, but it's quite similar. I'm actually looking at it here. It's quite similar. So, very happy with that. Because I will often trace, this one I traced. A lot of these I traced. Just it's much faster and more accurate. So yeah, and I care more about the painting stage anyway. But this one I drew from scratch, so I'm very proud of that. This one I don't remember actually. The version I drew or the version I traced, I'm not sure. I think this one in particular is the version I traced. But I have another one that I drew. But yeah, it's a challenge, Joyce. Yep. One thing that helps if you don't want to go too deep into you know, anatomy, understanding the face, gestures and proportions and all of that. The biggest advice I can give you is to look for relations vertically and horizontally. If you don't know where to place the eye, right, you can find out that the eye is the same line as the edge of the nose. For example, if you drop a perfectly vertical or perfectly horizontal line, find these relations. It will get you close enough. Not perfect, but close enough. You know. Ralph, thank you so much. Claudina, that's a cool name. Bom dia, thank you so much. Good day to you too. But you know, by the way, Joyce, a little knowledge can go a long way. After doing a bunch of these portraits, I feel like I much better understand the patterns of light and shadow in more depth on the human face. So we did a couple of studies here, right, a few weeks ago in the live stream. But I feel like now I understand like how it works under the eyelids and under the nose and around the nostrils. You know, you can always go more and more granular, and with the knowledge. And yeah, so this is okay. So yeah, that was a really that's a really fun way of doing things. Let's see here. Penny, top 3 tips for plein air. Now it's getting sunnier, at least in the UK. Yeah, you know, just experience it. It's a fun experience, I think. It's just fun. Smell your painting subject. You know, that's always I find that a lot of the senses that aren't usually utilized when painting just make it more for a wholesome experience, you know. I mean, on a very like the very practical tips I can give is just bring a lot of bulldog clips, just clips to hold things in place if it's windy. Bring a lot of water. It's comfortable and nice and convenient to have a backpack or a bag that's dedicated to just that, so you can just grab it and go. That's what I used to have. You know, basic stuff like that, but mainly just to do it and enjoy it, you know. Marjorie, McCracken Black. Okay, I'm gonna look into that. Yeah, okay, I remember that. Actually, someone mentioned it, right? It's named after this artist. What's her name? Is it Buffy, or am I completely confusing it? I think it was Buffy. Why don't they write it down? Lauren. I don't know where the Buffy came from. Lauren is the name. Oh yeah, the Buffy is on a thumbnail of a YouTube video. Lauren McCracken. Yeah, I remember that. That's a cool name too. Cholin, full Imperial is too cumbersome for a painting exhibition. I think I stick to half Imperial if I ever travel painting. Yeah, half is still quite big, so I think it's a good size to work on, you know. Alan, I just downloaded Leonardo AI. Thanks. It's actually not an app, so if you downloaded it, you're doing something wrong. It's a website, so you just go Leonardo, I think, .ai. Let me confirm, Leonardo.ai. It's a website. You don't have to download anything. I'm not sure what Leonardo AI app is. Maybe there's an app. I'm not sure. Like traveling painting expedition. To exhibit your paintings in a kind of pop-up store kind of way. Yeah, that sounds fun. Marjorie, I burnt wild grapevines and apple tree twigs to make charcoal sticks. Oh, you actually made the charcoal. That's crazy. That's cool. Cubswin, what is your opinion of tracing versus drawing? Also drawing without a reference. You know, however you decide to draw is your business. I think you know, there isn't really any rule. Any rule you'll try and invent for yourself or, you know, for anyone else is just a useless limitation. I think if you really want to, oh, that's cool. Jung Hung Sung liked my post, which is amazing because he's a big inspiration for me. Maybe he's watching the live stream. An honor. That's cool. Wait. Yeah, that's really. So yeah, where was I? Yeah. I think whatever works for you. You know, at the end of the day, the product is the painting. There are a lot of ways of creating it. A painting. There are a lot of ways of creating the drawing. Doesn't really matter to me. You know, at the end of the day, I have a result in mind, and whatever gets me to that result is what I'll do. Um, Sometimes I feel like there's something a little more organic um, about um, you doing everything, the drawing, even taking the picture. It's almost like there was literally nothing there, and then you created the subject, you created the drawing, you created the painting. But other times, you know, it's just it is what it is. You know, you paint whatever you feel like, and you draw it however you feel like. Let me give you an example. This is based on just a photo I found on Google. I don't believe this is like a Pixabay or a royalty-free photo. I'm just never gonna sell it. It's just for my own practice. So I took the photo, traced it. I don't own the photo. I traced it. I painted it. I mean, it's okay. I'm not gonna do any commercial use with it, you know. And yeah, some people will say they shouldn't even post it, but I mean, who cares? It's not that big a deal, I think. But if I'm gonna do anything that I plan on doing commercially, it's not just for myself. I would always either take my own photo or use one of these websites. But I think tracing won't teach you much about drawing. So if you don't want to learn about drawing, trace away. If you do want to learn about drawing, but you constantly trace, it's gonna probably limit your development. I think that's the most objective, truthful facts. As for drawing without a reference, at some point I find it easier to do. I feel like I can do quite a bit now without a reference. It's not going to be as good, but it's going to be nice. It's going to look okay. That's another thing that you have to practice doing specifically that in order to improve at that, right? If you always rely on references and you never try to do something on your own, you are building your mental library. That's an important part. But it's not, there are faster ways to advance in that regard. So yeah. Dazzling action. Ever used alcohol markers? Yeah, I have used Copic. That's alcohol based, right? I actually have a few. I have a live stream where I use it, and maybe a video or two. It's fun. It's fun. I found it a lot easier than watercolor in some ways, but also a challenge, Connie, I finally got eyes placed right by putting the pupils in first. Interesting. That's something I never tried before. Interesting. Leslie, I sometimes trace loosely on a canvas with a projector. Yep, yeah, that works. Dinker, it's a me, Mario. David Wilson, I'm having trouble mixing a color for the blue-green of water near a beach. Any ideas? Yeah, usually I don't know what, I'll have to see it, obviously, but generally speaking, colors in nature are very nuanced. So what tends to happen is when you see a green, you think to yourself, okay, blue and yellow. And usually it ends up being too artificial or bright of a green. So a bit of red, any type of red, can go a long way in making it look a little more natural. Now, sometimes you look at a color in real life and you think to yourself, oh, that color is so vibrant, when it's not. It's actually not. If you actually sample it, take a picture, sample it, it will be quite muted. It's just that in the context of the scene, it looks very bright. So two things to maybe have in mind that'll help you the next time, but I get it. Yeah, it's a big challenge sometimes. One last thing, maybe, David, is maybe you just don't have the right color. Some blues are hard to mix with certain blues. I think one blue that I don't have and barely use is cerulean blue, and it does look a little different compared to phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, Prussian blue. It looks a little different. And I would say it's harder to mix some colors without cerulean. So maybe you're missing a blue. That could be an option too. Chola, no worries. Let me see what you're saying then. If I were to travel in a country to paint watercolor, say the Middle East, Do you think half imperial size is a good format choice? Let me see here. So how much is it in inches? Half imperial. I'm never sure. Let me make sure that I'm correct. So what it says, dimensions, half imperial sheet size. It says 50 by 60, about 50 by 60 centimeters. So that'll be 50. Yeah. No, it's a good size, I think. I think it's a good size. Now, depending on the climate, you know, if there's strong sunlight too, if there's a lot of humidity or very dry weather, you may find that your paint dries really fast. You'll need, you know, a good old water sprayer, maybe work exclusively in the shadow. I recommend that anyway. But I think it could work. Definitely. I would probably go half that size for plein airs, personally for me, because I find it challenging. But if you'll do a lot of work inside, even cafes, stuff like that, then yeah, it's a good size, I think. Laura, I often will trace the focal point or more difficult portion and then sketch the rest. Oh, that's interesting. That's something I didn't really ever do. Sometimes I'll trace the bare bones and add the details in from observation, but never like the focal point and then sketch the rest. That's a cool idea, actually. Yeah, you got it, David. Jacqueline, you need all the blues, including the new one that we just discovered exists. The inker, who is your inspiration for making art? Yeah, that would be just me, just myself. At the beginning, it was other artists, but it just went away. Honestly, I didn't do anything. I do have specific inspirations for different, you know, techniques or goals. Maybe right now it's gotta be Misolbu and Jung Hung Sung. But I would say, generally speaking, at the end of the day, I have to set everything aside, everything, because it's very tiresome to paint based on someone else. It's very, I find it drains me energetically. Doesn't feel right. I try and take, you know, learn what I'm missing, the missing pieces that fit perfectly into the puzzle that is me individually, and discard the rest, you know. Sam, good evening from the Basque country, y'all. Oh, that's cool. What's the Basque country? I have no idea where it is. Oh, okay. It says it's an autonomous community in Spain. That's really cool. I mean, I heard the word Basque. I just had no idea where it is, but now I know. There's a lot going on there in Spain, in different places in that area. So many different communities and countries. I don't know how to define them exactly, so sorry if I make a mistake, but that's really cool. The area I have not gotten the chance to visit. That's cool. Dazzling action. Anybody here else uses 3D model and Clip Studio Paint as a tool for reference? Yeah, I do too. I use a lot of 3D models, generally speaking, for reference. You know, like I've shown you in the live stream with faces, portraits, and so on. I do that quite a bit. It really helps. Really, really helps. And you can almost dress it up how you want and make it your own very, very easily if you have a bit of basic knowledge, you know. Jacqueline, I'm late in joining. What's the new blue? It's called, I have it open here, In MN. It's a weird spelling. I don't know. It's YIN and then MN, blue. But I'm not sure if it's YLN, actually. Y is for yttrium. It's I for indium. And MN for manganese. Yeah. MN, blue. YINMN, blue. Yeah, it's a strange one, but turns out it exists. Marjorie, I found during my last hurrah trip to Ireland that my paints dried very slowly compared to New York State. Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like my paints dry so fast, it's driving me crazy. Alan, the Leonardo AI app is a trip in a good way. Cool. Dina, it is so wonderful to have you pop up in the morning before I paint and start my motor running. Through the painting process, I reflect on your words, and that was, oh, that's cool. Thank you for being here. Cholan, love your vibes in your demos and your persistency using the same palette. Yeah, thank you. Yep, that's what works for me. I may change it in the future though. The Inker, what's your childhood favorite cartoon? Mine is Jackie Chan Adventures and Ben 10. Yeah, I love Jackie Chan. I had that too. What was like a classic one I watched? I remember the Batman cartoon was pretty big. Um, I grew up more, funny enough, on um, a lot of just now I learned that it's anime, actually, that it's a Japanese production, together with Canada, US. So I would say Moomins was a big one. We had Alfred J. Kwok, not sure what production that is. We had Marco, looking for his mom. That's an anime. I didn't know what an anime was back then, but I would say those are the main ones, and of course Pokemon was huge back then. I actually had a Jackie Chan game for was it Game Boy Advance, I think, or Game Boy Color, I don't remember. Yeah, what else? What other interesting cartoons there were? There were a lot. There's those bike riding mice. I don't remember their name. Let me see what the name is in English. We talked about it actually once here on the live stream. Biker Mice from Mars. That was a big one too. It was really popular here. It's funny how these cartoons really end up defining your taste. I grew up more like anime than Western cartoons, funny enough. But yeah, that was a big one. I loved it. I think I drew it once or twice, and a bunch more, Henny, art podcast still available? You mean my podcast? Yeah, they should be available. I just haven't recorded it in a while. I haven't had anything interesting enough to say that is just conversation. But maybe, now I'm starting to develop some more ideas. So maybe I'll go back to doing some of that. I think maybe doing some writing will help me. Then it'll be me reading what I wrote. I think that'll be a better format for where I'm at right now, I think, So just to talk a bit about the painting on the screen right now. This was, I'll look at the original as I talk because it'll make it easier. So this is interesting. This is when you have a very clear vision, but the technique didn't really carry it properly. And this was another, I guess, step in the ladder of the impetus to try and solve this problem for myself, which I'm still working on solving, of course. It's gonna take a while, but now I'm much more aware of it. And I know where I'm at. And I actually can recognize a lot of things that are inaccurate about this one that I'll probably do differently right now or paint over and fix, It's very interesting. So this is like a successful step in the right direction. This is another successful step. This is something that feels like it should be, but I don't know why I'm not as happy with. Not sure why. It's not as smooth as I'd want it to be. This is another one that I'll show you a video of. It's unfinished. It's never going to be finished probably, but it's an interesting one. And this one is also going to be in a video. Saturday's video, actually. Just ignore the weird neck. It's supposed to continue more into the hair. But yeah, this one really showed me very clearly where I'm lacking in technique and understanding too of the subject and the face. And gave me a lot of motivation to start doing more. And then I did this one, and then I did all the ones that you saw on the screen. You can really tell how I knew what I wanted to do with this one. This one, I refer to the one on the screen right now. But the technique just isn't there, and it's very frustrating. I get it. I've experienced this all throughout my watercolor journey. Your taste improves, your observational skills improve, so you start noticing all the faults in your result. And even if there's just a bit of lack of smoothness in the technique, like you see a bit of here, for example, all of these things, they come from a lack of understanding of watercolor. And here, for example, also, there are a few mistakes, right? This area here could have been done much, much better. This point of the corner of the nose, could have been done a little better. The hair could have been done a little better. All of these things point to places where there's a bit of a lack of understanding. So I started asking myself, and I'll talk about it in Saturday's video, I won't go into too many details, but I started asking myself, the best question we can ask is, what stops me from painting the way I want? What stops me from getting these techniques smoothly, these washes smoothly? And the one conclusion I came to, and after watching a lot of videos by Misolbu and Jung Hung Sung, were that I am in a hurry to get to the result. And what happens is, again, the question I asked was very specific. What stops me from already being at a point where I get the results I want? The conclusion I came to is that I'm in a hurry, and so I reach to the darker values too soon, so that I don't have enough time to properly manipulate the paint. And you'll see me go through a process where I think I'm practicing using enough water, and I end up not using enough water. And then I do another portrait, and it's a little better, but still not enough water, and I finally get it in the third one. And I get a terrible result that I don't like, but at least I got myself to use wet enough of washes. And then this was a success in that regard. And I would say also these two were done with sufficiently wet washes. But the reason I was constantly using too dark washes, knowing that I used too strong washes wasn't enough. I had to kind of drill down and figure out the reason. The reason was I was in a hurry. Whenever I'm not in a hurry, I find myself playing with the paint more, understanding it better, letting it do its thing. Watercolor is water-based, right? So the more you allow it to play in water, the less interference by the artist there is, and the more it will do its thing. So the more water, more flow, more smoothness, more time to lift, more time to charge, more time to do everything. So it was this missing piece of, I'm in a hurry to get to a result that solved the problem for me. Understanding that now changed my painting forever. And I will forever be aware of the amount of water that probably needs to be more in most instances. The exceptions would be very small shapes, where I can get away with going dark fast. Or if I really feel like just putting a dark paint, that's fine. That comes before, that is prioritized over technique, the feel that I have at the moment. But very often, the way I would do things was misaligned with the result I was trying to achieve, and that's a gap in understanding. Okay, so that's where this comes from. This is the big lessons I learned from this one. Major lessons. So yeah, you got it, Cholin. Joshua, hi, I'm late. Yeah, no worries. Welcome aboard. Good night from Malaysia. Good night, Cholin. The inker, I can see the warmth from her cheeks in the painting. Oh, that's cool. Yep. Yeah, I tried. I really tried with the reds and the yellows and everything. I feel like stretching. Tired. I'm so tired. Haven't slept really well. Jacqueline, I really want to start painting faces. Looking forward to the video. Cool. Yep. It's nothing fancy. There aren't any good results there. It's just experimentation. Ellen, gotta go to work. Thanks again, Liron, and everyone for the great advice. Yeah, you got it. Thank you for being here, and have a great day at work. Hey, Marina, how are you doing? Jacqueline, I think her face is reminiscent of the Dutch painters. Yeah, that makes sense. Joshua, love the expression and emotions on her face. Yeah, that's the one thing I am happy with. So even though the paint technique is sloppy, I feel like I captured the expression really well. Luke, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. Cubs win. Is the white on her forehead the paper or white color? No, it's the paper. It's the paper, and I completely missed the place I actually wanted to leave highlights. But yeah, it's not. I didn't use any white color really. Only in the nose, maybe a bit in the eye highlights, but not in any large areas. It was just for small fixes like the lower eyelids, the highlight within the pupil, but nothing else. Shelly, you learned the rhythm. Hi, Liron. Hey, hope you're doing well. Jansart, observational skills are half the battle. I believe we have to learn to see to improve on our painting skills. Learn to see, then use the technique you've learned and developed. Yeah, yeah, I would say observational. It's not even a skill, I think. It's just that awareness. But yeah, being able to activate that awareness is a big deal. It's a big deal. What's your breakfast? That's a great question. I actually skipped most of them recently, so it's just coffee. But maybe it'll be an omelet or something light. Unless I'm hungry, you know, inexplicably hungry, and then I'll grab, maybe if there's an interesting leftovers from yesterday. I can actually eat anything any time of day. So I don't mind eating, you know, meat for breakfast. I have zero problems with that. People make fun of that. But yeah, what about you, the anchor? What do you like to eat? What is everyone's favorite breakfast? Let's say. Let me know. Jacqueline, I was so tired yesterday. I went to bed at 6:30, slept basically 11 hours, and feel better now. Oh man, I wish that was me. Catherine, late but glad I caught you. Yeah, you're here. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, so I'll do just coffee usually. Maybe if I feel like I want to spoil myself, I'll throw in a um, uh, you know, just a piece of chocolate and let it melt into the coffee. Shelly just had macaroni and cheese. Is it for breakfast? Jacqueline, also coffee. Yeah. We have a really nice coffee machine that grinds and everything. It's what you'd call an automatic, I think, or a semi-auto. No, it's an automatic machine, I think. I'm not the coffee expert, but yeah, it makes great coffee from coffee beans. The anchor. Dosa and sambar, a South Indian dish. Okay, let me see what that is, because I like food. Oh, that's cool. That looks interesting. I may give it a try. I like making stuff. I like preparing stuff from scratch. Sometimes, so I'll maybe I'll give it a try if I feel like. Um, let's see here. Um, Fabian, hi. Are you a morning painter or a night painter? You know, it's interesting. I am very much a night person when it comes to feeling creative and feeling visionary. But ultimately, I find out that it doesn't really suit my lifestyle. Um, because what counters it, and I don't know if it's just psychological, it doesn't even matter if it's psychological. I don't know if it's the right thing to do for me personally. And by right, I mean it will help me achieve my goals. But um, I'm very much a night person when it comes to creativity and interest and reading and figuring things out. But it just doesn't end up working well. If I try to work late, wake up late, it doesn't really work. It doesn't lend itself well to my lifestyle. I feel much better when I wake up early to work. Um, when I find myself, you know, waking up early consistently, I find that I have 2 or 3 hours of being very creative. Um, when it comes to everything, you know, my focus when painting or drawing, sketching, all of that. So funny enough, thought wise, yes, I love thinking creatively in the evening, and I get a lot of, I think I become more open to possibilities. So I start having good like visions of the future, things I want to achieve, things look more possible even. Um, but yeah, it doesn't work well for my lifestyle. So I'm kind of a mix, I guess. I can do both, and I chose to be more of a morning person. I have to yawn. Ridar, well, I'm really tired. How can you find the difference between light and dark? Yeah, you know, recognizing just how dark something is can be a big challenge. Um, Sometimes when you look at, especially that happens with portraits, when you look at the shadowy side, things that look light are just light in the context of the shadow. When you actually grab them, swatch the paint, put it on a white piece of paper, it's super dark, and it can be very misleading. So first off, just when you're starting out, turning photos black and white can help you very technically just to see the values a little better, right? But I would say a lot of it is just that feedback loop. You know, you do it and then you figure out where you were wrong. And you do it again and again. And you genuinely explore your own shortcomings and where you tend to mess it up, where you tend to specifically not notice it accurately. And you learn with time to overcorrect and correct so that you get it right the first time. And I still don't get it right the first time most of the time, so I just do another wash if I need to, right? But I would say that one more thing that can help is to have a little swatcher, just a square hole in a piece of paper that you can place, and it isolates the different colors. And then if you print your reference photo, you can place it on that and see the colors a little more accurately. Colors and values too, by the way. Sujanith, how are you doing? Hi, Liron, and everyone. A bit delayed at work. Yeah, no worries. The Inker, try it and tell me in the next live stream. Biryani, also good. Chicken rice spice. Oh, that sounds good. Let's see what that is. I don't know if I'll try it out before biryani. If I try it out before the next live stream, most likely not. But if I get some time to cook, yes, I will give it a try for sure. Shelly, intuition is active at night, action in the morning. I agree. Interesting. I haven't thought of it that way. You know, I think I do get some intuition in the morning too. But yeah, action recedes towards the night for me, definitely. Like a receding hairline. Luckily, thanks to my father, I don't have much of a receding hairline. Thanks, Dad, for all the hair. Much appreciated. It's that time where a lot of my friends start to lose their hairline. I'm very pleased with myself keeping it, not with my friends losing. Catherine, I find it difficult to paint dark areas enough due to drying lighter. Yes, and even more than that, just seeing the nuances. So if I go back to this one here, in particular, right, there are some nuances in the shadowy side where this area is a little darker than this area. All of these small changes are can be very hard to recognize. I find that my ability to tell the values apart within the dark range of the color scale is very limited. And it's something I'm working on for sure. And it doesn't even matter if you get it 100% accurately. You can interpret it a lot of different ways. You can play around with the values, change them. But, you know, sometimes I do want them to be loyal to the reference. So, yeah. Vagabond, hey, hope you're doing well. I'm late, very busy these days. Yeah, thank you for being here. No worries at all. It's been a couple of busy days for me too. Sorry for the yawn. Oh, entertaining. So yeah, what else? What other paintings do you want to be? Let me show you one really bad attempt. This portrait that you saw earlier on the screen. So, you know, the technique is actually a little better in some spots, but the face doesn't look at all like what I wanted it to look like. But I like this spot here with the hair and the ear, but you know, didn't really get it to look the way I wanted it to. And I wanted to include the frame. There's a nice picture frame here. But in the other version, I just didn't have the room to do it, you know. Something cool. Oh, there is one more thing that I wanted to show you that's really neat, and then we'll read some more chats. For this painting, I actually have a scan of the first wash, so I can share that. Let me prepare it for a second because I believe I scanned it in 2 parts. You'll see it's a very interesting. I think a very interesting first wash because I love doing first washes like this. Let me show you. I can even just show you a part of it. Let me stitch them together so you see the full thing. It's going to be fairly simple to do. But yeah, so it's one of those paintings where I really put a lot of emphasis on temperatures and a variety of interesting colors. Almost like the OCD painting, if you remember that one, I really tried to do the same. The first wash was very, very strong in defining the trying to rotate it. Was very strong in defining the temperatures that will come later on. So yeah, I'll let. Because the scanner isn't large enough to scan the whole thing in one go, so I had to scan it in parts. Of course, there we go. I got it. Need to save it and upload live stream. 1 second. Is it better to paint details or not? You know, that's a very general question that is unanswerable. It's all about whatever you want to show the viewer. If you want to show the details, you will show them, and if you don't, you don't. You know, the amount of simplification is totally up to you. Some people love, you know, painting hyper realistically. Everyone has their own way of doing it, so I would say the answer to your question is to figure out what you want, and if you lack clarity there, it's very likely you won't be able to bring that clarity to a result. It'll be just a stroke of luck at best case scenario. So here it is, the one I was telling you about. We just move it a bit. This is a very interesting first wash, I would say, compared to my other works. But hopefully you can see some of the details there. Catherine, what's the best free app to use to change the values of pics? So if you have a computer, that'll be the thing that comes with your computer. Whether it's Windows or Mac or whatever you're using, there is an option to do that. Actually, I'm not sure because I've been using Photoshop for years, but there are many of these software. And you can also do this online if you just want to turn them black and white. I'm sure there are websites. If you just search for convert photo to grayscale, you'll find many options. Marjorie, I envy all you busy people. Yeah. Adrian, hello. I've been binging your content lately. Thank you so much. And I was wondering if you did a video on paper types. Not really. I would direct you to Steve Mitchell, the Mind of Watercolor. He has probably the best video on papers that I've ever seen. He really thoroughly experiments with different types, and I would strongly encourage you to check that out. I don't have a good video on that. It's not my strength to do reviews, actually, of different products. I'm just not really good at it. So other people have. I'm sure Tio Ichie has great videos on paper too, because he does a lot of reviews. Dazzling action. Anybody here have a tendency to make mid-tone values too dark? Ooh, I had that a lot. Dazzling action. I used to do that a lot. For me, morning, some journaling, problem solving helps on whiteboard and a marker. Just keep writing till I get answers. Full creative steam in the morning between 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I feel the same way too. I would say 8 or even 7 if I manage to wake up early till maybe 1 or 12. 12 it starts to fade out for me. Yeah, but I get it. The inker, do you use what color you see in the image or what color you feel? You know, I think ultimately for me, I like to use the color I feel, but sometimes I would love that to be rooted in the color that is there. And for that, I need to read the color well, and I'm not there yet to the level I want to be. Because I'm seeing works by other people that are really good at that, and I'm not there yet. So it would ultimately be a combination of the two. So right now it's a mix. I try my best, but yeah. I like to use expressive colors. I don't think colors matter as much for realism. I do think they matter if you're aiming for a specific impression, you know. Sujanith, wow, beautiful portrait. Thank you so much. Redarv answered that. Marjorie, Mind of Watercolor did a good review. Yes, indeed. But no one has done a review of Soft Press that I have seen. Oh, yeah. So no worries about that. Thank you so much for sending me a package at all. But yeah, Soft Press. So that's the newer one, right? I believe Steve said he's familiar with that. You know. Sujanith, how many here like blending and layering? I love any medium oils, watercolors, and pastels, mainly these two above. Mainly for these two above. Yeah, you know, for blending, if you really want to do it fast, I think with watercolors, there's second to none, right? Oil is completely different when it comes to blending, right? It kind of happens overnight when you let it sit, if I'm not mistaken. Sujanith, after seeing your videos, I've become a little thick-skinned, not to be affected by the results, but focus on my process. It's helping not to hate watercolors. Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, really, if you hate your results, at some point you gotta ask yourself, kind of what I asked myself for, you know, if you wanted to improve, the question is, why is it not where I want it to be? What causes my paintings not to, what causes the paint not to do what I want, you know? Why is it that I don't get the results I want? There's a lot of introspection that can be done to get a person to figure out the nuances, the very nuances. It's nothing too woo-woo spiritual. It's just the nuances of what's going on there. You know, why the result isn't what you want it to be. So yeah, but I'm happy that you're more thick-skinned in a way. It's good. At the end of the day, we all create for a reason. If you find that reason, the rest doesn't really matter. The result is a byproduct of that. So whatever comes, you know. Vagabond, to do this patchy wash, do you wet area by area, such that the colors blend within a given area but don't diffuse outside of the area? Like for the hair. If you're talking about this one on the screen right now, I started with the background and then moved into the hair. I didn't really do much pre-wetting for this painting. It was more putting some light, very light paint in an area and then darkening it wet and wet gradually until it's dry. It's too dry to work with. So I wouldn't say pre-wetting, but sometimes I will do exactly what you say. So yes, it depends on the painting. If I feel like there's an area that's very nicely isolated from the rest, I'll do it like you say. Yes. I'll work an area. I'll maybe pre-wet, maybe I'll start very wet and then do wet and wet and maybe smoothen out the edges, and I'll continue with that area until I'm fully happy, and then I'll move on to another one. If I can do that, that's ideal. Sometimes the main shape is so big that you have such a huge area to work with, and you have to just work really fast and still start very wet to get time to work, you know. So yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky thing, and every painting calls for its own technique, I think, you know. There isn't really a way... It's almost, in a way, impossible to decide in advance, you know? Because any decision you make will be changed based on what happens on paper. Shelly, gotta go. Thanks, Liron. Congrats on your painting breakthrough. Get some real rest. No, yeah, I'm gonna get some rest soon. Joshua, do you know the watercolor artist Titus Muse? Yes, I'm following him at least on Instagram, if not on YouTube too. Yes, I'm familiar. Really nice work. Catherine, for your black and white paintings, do you mix your own grays, blacks? If so, what is your main go-to? I'm just using neutral tint. For the black and white, it's just neutral tint and leftovers on the palette, actually. For this one in particular, I used a lot of leftovers, so you can actually recognize some warmth in it. The version I uploaded to Instagram is a black and white, so it eliminated all colors, but if you look up close, there are some warmer areas and some cooler areas there. I'm just using neutral tint and leftovers, generally. Oh, Vagabond, I was talking about the previous one. The one before the black and white. So it was... where did it go. Was it this one? The black and white is on point, by the way. The shadow works so well. Thank you. So wait, let me reread it. Sorry, yes. To do this patchy watch, do you wet area by area? Um, Actually, no. I just worked as fast as I could. Put paint wet on dry and try to work as fast as I can from area to area. No real rhyme or reason, honestly, to the first wash here. Just tried, just went for it. Where I kind of, some edges dried, I just painted the other shape carefully. The one thing that went with great flow, I think, is the background and some of the hair and the bottom. But yeah, no real rhyme or reason. Sorry, I misunderstood the painting you were referring to, and thank you for the compliments on the other one. The Inker, I like artwork and animation of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Do you like it? I haven't watched the movie's out yet. I'm not sure it's out yet, but I love the Into the Spider-Verse. The first movie with Miles Morales, I think, right? That one I love, the comic book style and the dotted screen tones. Oh, that was a good one. I know a lot of Spider-Man fans aren't really sure if they like that one, but I'm a total normie when it comes to Marvel and DC, so I enjoyed it a lot, and I love comic book style to begin with, so I loved it. And I think the story was great. Sujanith. Liron, we all have favorite living artists in each medium, and we try to keenly focus in their style and teaching. Who is your favorite living artist who you really admire and adore? No one. No one, actually. I appreciate a lot of artists and what they achieved, but I don't really admire or adore them. I definitely don't have that. Maybe in the past I did. I'm definitely in awe of some techniques, but I don't really. Yeah, sorry, I don't have a better answer. Thank you, Vagabond, again for the kind words. Richard, oh, sorry, not Richard, Ridarv. Sorry, the text is small. Which is better, watercolor tubes or watercolor cakes? I find tubes are more cost effective, easier to work with because you can squeeze out a small amount and use it fresh and very easy to mix with water. So I'd say at the end of the day, tubes are a little better. Kabzawin, do you like Levinson brushes and or Michael Soloviev brushes? So yeah, Michael Soloviev has graciously sent me this brush and I believe another one. I liked it quite a bit. This brush is very nice, great water capacity, lasts really long for different washes. Same for Levinson. It's two brands that I really like and I always have here, that I always use. Actually, I didn't mention much of Michael Soloviev's, but yeah, it's always here next to me. So I use it quite a bit. For larger pieces more. I used it in divination quite a bit. Where was I? Yeah, Susan, if I had seen many artists who are either very good either in teaching or in creating excellent art, not both. Very few I come across both things in one artist. Do you feel that too? Yes, I agree. That's an interesting observation. I think if one really devotes themselves to just making art, there's not enough time to teach sometimes, and it's those people that are very obsessed in a good way with their creation. They don't have time to do anything else. On the other hand, I think some people enjoy teaching a lot, and that's a different path. I hope to do both. It's interesting. I hope to be as good as, if not better, if not on a plane of my own, really, on a level of my own, and also be a good teacher, hopefully. Hope I'm not naive and I can do both. I think I can. I know I can, actually. If I'm honest. Joshua, is there any good art books you recommend to read? I think the best art books would be the ones that inspire you to create. So if you have a style or a type of art that you like, getting a pure art book with lots of paintings, illustrations, examples, that would be a good place to start, Pierre, howdy, Liron. Late check and been watching Lana Del Rey in concert. Oh, cool. Not a great painting week, but trying to paint every day. I hope it helps. No, that's cool that you went to a concert. Vagabond, interesting. I find it not easy to blend complementary colors with clean transitions on dry paper like you did. Yeah, that's something you can practice on your on in its own on a clean piece of paper, and as long as the level of wetness is equal and your work fast enough, it will be good. It will be good. I have a few videos showing how colors merge when placed one next to one another. You may want to check that out. Actually, don't remember the title, but it's in my top 20 videos. So if you go to popular, you will see it. Maybe handling paint on the palette and paper, something like that. But yeah, the technique next to the hair and all of the things you mentioned, it's challenging, you know. I have to be very focused when I do it. Ryan, hey Liron, for beginners, do you think it's better to stick to a smaller paper size for portraits or a larger size, or does it depend? Or it depends. Sorry, I can't read. Also, do you ever use a proportional divider? I don't own a proportional divider, but it looks useful. Maybe I should get one. As for, small or large, the general consensus would be start small, easier to handle, big brush. But I would say, even if you're a beginner, but you're inspired by making large paintings, practice that. The thing you do is the thing you'll improve at, probably. So if you paint large, you will get better at that. So I don't think there is one way, really, to that a beginner will benefit from. I honestly think some people will be doing themselves a disservice painting just small because they feel trapped. They want to paint large. It's really personal, you know. Hattori Doraemon, bro, this art is crazy. Thank you so much. I should pronounce Hattori correctly. I love. By the way, if you read the manga Bakuman, their agent is called Hattori. I don't know what his name is based on, but I'm sure it's based on something older I'm unfamiliar with, maybe related to Doraemon. Thank you so much, though. Cholan, question: have you ever wanted to venture into oils? Not yet. I tried acrylics. I know it's completely different. Didn't like it as much, so I would assume oils being a little more opaque and mix, place isn't really for me. So not at the moment. I just love watercolor, you know. Pierre Michael paints horizontally and vertically on these bizarre rocket booster brushes, fairly dry, then makes it come together in the end. Go figure. He's amazing. He's really good. He has his technique, he has his vision, his style. He's really good. Zoro OP. Is it Zoro One Piece? I'm making live sketches daily, but unable to improve from last 2 months. Any tips for help? 2 months is nothing, first off. And I would say forget about improving. Focus on the act of sketching and better understanding what you're trying to achieve with your sketches, why it is you're sketching, what kind of things you enjoy sketching, and why. I think you'll benefit much more from that than to look for improvement. I stopped looking for improvement, honestly, as much as I can. I just paint. I know what I want to achieve, but I'm not looking for improvement. 2 months is really a short period of time, though, in the grand scheme of things. Not to say that things have to take time, but 2 months really is a short period of time. So I wouldn't be bothered, even if it was more than that, but definitely if it's just 2 months, you know. On a more, specific note, I would have to know more specifically what you're dealing with and what challenges you're having in particular, where you mess things up, where you're inaccurate. And I think that's where you'll also find the solution, like actually what's wrong about the sketches, right? Instead of looking for improvement, what's actually wrong about them. That's another thing you may want to look into. I hope that helps. I think teaching sharing, Cholin says, is also a complement to painting side. Teaching forces you to be in the level. It's the message jumped. Sorry, I'll find it here. To be in the level of beginners. Yeah, there is some truth to that. Teaching does teach. Yeah, for sure. Marjorie, my last watercolor teacher was good at both teaching and creating, selling Ernestine Bucking, what she taught mostly landscapes. I believe I googled her once. Um, yeah, you got it, Vagabond. Stefan, hey, just getting in. Saw the stream going when I woke up. So happy it's still going on now that I've dropped the kid off. Oh yeah, we've been going for a while. So I feel my voice getting tired. Jacqueline, smaller paintings is better for me. Yep, everyone has their own, whatever works for them. Pierre, I'll go look at Udes Korea and you'll never dare attempt a portrait again. Yeah, actually, um, when I look at Udes's work, it doesn't feel totally outside my reach, actually. Um, but he's great. Yeah, he's great. I did a Painting Masters episode. You may want to check that out on him. Yeah, he's really good. I'm obsessed right now with Miss Ulbu's art, but yeah, Udes is fantastic as well. Udes is more, it's portraits, but also figures and more of a zoomed out view. But yeah, he's incredible. Love his work. But that's one thing though, that if I see someone's art that I really like, to me it's more of a dare. Can I do that too? More than losing motivation. Stefan, if I paint too big, I lose track of the composition and value control more often. Yeah, but if you want to, that shouldn't stop you. You'll just improve at it. Adrian, with oil, you can also mix on the painting directly as it dries much slower. Yep, yeah, so I heard. Victor, do you know about the animation The Old Man and the Sea 1999? Every single frame in the animation is actually an oil painting. No, I don't. I'm not familiar with that. Let me take a look. Oh, that looks cool. So is it actually paintings? Because it looks like a painting. I have to check it out. That looks amazing. I'll have to check it out as soon as I'm done with this. It looks really good. What pre-released in India? Sorry, Anchor. I missed the previous one. Ryan, thank you as always. I had noticed a couple of your were on large sheets of paper. I guess it's possible to get more details with a larger painting because you have more room. You're more zoomed in. Everything is possible, really. So yeah, don't let the size of the paper stop you. Vagabond, so I had a quick look to your most popular video, and my watch later playlist got 3 hours longer. Thanks. Yeah, that happens. Pierre, you do great portraits in your quick studies. Thank you. Yep. I'm trying to now develop that to a more detailed thing. The Anchor, the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Oh, is this pre-released in India? Cool. I guess probably in the US too, right? Hey, Gabrielle, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. I think I'm getting close to wrapping it up. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I just feel myself and my voice slowly fading into oblivion. But it's been great fun. I hope to do maybe next week or the week after we can do something that's more like critiques. It's been a while since we did that, or maybe more painting, Antonio, shall a beginner use 100% cotton? There's crazy winds here, by the way. 100% cotton paper. I'm feeling the wind now on my feet. I have no idea where it comes from. Maybe it's from the fan. I don't know. I started feeling it now. That's so strange. Sorry. I'll reread it. I have to check now if it's the fan. So we're gonna use 100% cotton paper. It's best if you do, Antonio, if you can afford it, and if it works for you, it'll be the best. It's one of those things maybe you don't want to compromise on, if possible. All the rest is compromisable. Even though, even on bad paper, you'll just have to work much, much faster. But it is possible. If you work pulp paper, you'll just have to work much faster. That's the catch. Don't let that stop you from painting. Definitely. So, Janith, Liron, how much time do you spend in painting for yourself? In a day, what is the maximum time you spent in a painting in one day? Yeah, I painted 8-9 hours before one painting, but usually, again, recently, in the last couple of weeks, it's been a couple of hours every day. Usually, it's not as much, just because I've been obsessed with portraits. Pinterest at 50 plus open tabs. That's me. That's terrible. If I open Pinterest up, it's game over. Thank you, Sujanith, for being here. Thank you, The Anchor. Thank you, Victor. Stefan, I've been working on whatever I can get and literally just found out what weighted press means. Yeah, I was like that too in the beginning, trust me. Thank you, Joshua, as well, for being here. I will see you later. There's a video for Saturday planned out, already scheduled. You'll see some portraits, not good ones, but still, it's okay. And then there's videos for next week also that I have planned. Thank you so much, John, too. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in the next one. Until the next time, you take care. And keep painting and creating and just have fun with your art. Have fun. Do whatever you want, really. Art is freedom. It really is. We'll talk to you again soon.